Hello, everyone. Welcome to Weekend Sports, and it's our college football pregame for Week 6, I believe, is what we're on. Michigan going out to Washington to face the Huskies. Will they win? Will they not? We shall see. Huskies are a 2.5-point favorite at home. There's a late game for us on. Well, it's a night game, 7:30. Not that late for them over there on the West Coast. A 4 o'clock game. But out of everything, I know Washington's kind of struggled this year too. They just lost to Rutgers. I don't think it's an improbable win for Michigan. I think they can pull it out. It's just we shall see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Michigan is a work in progress, and I can't tell you anything about. I mean, they're hard to watch on offense, but hopefully, like I said, you got to give more a little bit of time, I suppose, and see what happens. They're what 3-1,
4-1.
4-1. Wow.
4-1. Washington's 3-2. You're ranked 10th in the country.
I said at the beginning of this year, 8-4 would make me happy. So I'm going to try to stick with that, even though it's like I said, they're a hard team to watch because their offense is so 90% run, and it's just tough. Their defense looks pretty damn good. So we'll see what they do out there. It should be a good game. I mean, I think these two teams are pretty close.
Yeah.
So I mean, it should be a good game, a fun game to watch.
Rematch of the national championship from last year.
Yeah.
Two struggling teams.
We'll see.
Rematch of the national championship. Their QB Rodgers is 110 for 147 so far this year. Has thrown just over 1,000 yards, 1,300 yards on the year with 10 TDs. So, I mean, he's playing well. Much better than our QBs have been playing. And they're rushing wise, we do have a better rusher. Mullings has more carries and more yards and more TDs slightly in each category, so slightly better. And then Loveland has better receiving stats than, he's our best receiver, which isn't great because their best receiver has about 7 more catches, about 200 more yards, and about 6 more TDs than our top receiver. So
right, our offense is just putrid. So if we can win, it's going to be because our defense kind of puts us in a position to.
Now, looking at our other matchup, very late game for us here on the East Coast to be getting into, but we have our 9 o'clock game on Fox. Michigan State going to number 6 Oregon. They are underdogs by 24 points.
Two tough matchups, 2 weeks in a row. Michigan State just gets their butts slapped around and
puts them back into their place.
I feel bad for them because, like I said, they're playing 2 of the better teams in the Big Ten, 2 probably the best teams, and they're going to get annihilated.
Probably about to get their butt kicked in. If they're at home, I would say maybe something different because if they could play like they did against Ohio State, just fix the little mistakes, they would have more of a chance. But they're going on the road to Oregon. You only have a 7% chance to win. My hope is they just make it a more of a football game than getting blown out by 30 points. That would be preferred.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Can we stay a touchdown within it? Probably I don't know. But Oregon, they're a good team. Gabriel, their QB, is 110 for 135 on the year, a little over 1,000 yards and 9 TDs. While you got Childs, who has thrown 5 TDs and 8 interceptions on the year through 5 games. Rushing wise, they don't really have a top rusher over Oregon's. He has more yards, more TDs, more carries. And receiving wise, their receivers are better too. So overall, not looking like a great week for Michigan State. Do I hope they have a better chance to be there? Yes. Also, if you wanted to randomly make a trip out to Oregon, it's $17 to go to the game if you want to go see them get blown out in Oregon.
Yeah. Sounds like a good deal.
Compared to the $57 tickets at Michigan. But if I had to make score predictions, we'll start with Michigan State. Oregon's probably going to beat them. I'm going to say 35-14 is what my final guess. I'll say they get a couple touchdowns in for Michigan State.
For Michigan State,
they're going to get blown out 35-14.
I think that's a good guess. I'm going to say it's more like 42-17.
Oh, I thought you were going to go lower than me. I thought 42-10 or something.
42-17.
But they're not pulling out of that one. I hate to break it to anybody who's thinking that they might, but they ain't pulling out of that one with the win. Michigan wise, I think Michigan, they're kind of picking up. I feel like they will have a good chance to win the game and annoy people from them being ranked in the top 10 again for another week. I think they're going to barely squeak by another win at Washington and keep themselves as a higher ranked team than they probably should be. I'm going to say it's a close one, 24-21.
Wow, I was thinking the same thing, only I was thinking Washington.
So you're going 24-21 Washington.
24-21 Washington.
I'm going 24-21 Michigan on that one. I think they're going to continue to squeak by these games that they probably should lose. Keep themselves high ranked until it's not really worth them being ranked. But I think they're going to get by.
10, aren't they?
They are number 10.
That's
probably higher than they should be with how their offense is playing.
I've never,
but
for us talking about a 10th ranked team after 5 games, and just have really no faith in them at all to do anything other than beat scrub teams. I don't think they're a 10th ranked team.
Well, after this week is when you get to be tested really for a few weeks with Illinois, Michigan State, and Oregon.
Right.
So after this week is really Michigan's test of rivalries.
There's a very good
teams.
chance they could win the next 3 games, which would put them at 7-1 and going into Oregon.
7-1 going into Oregon. And you have a home game against Oregon.
I think is great, considering everything that's happened to them and as bad as the offense is on this team. If they go into Oregon 7-1, they're going to get smoked. So, they're going to get
so far through the rest of the year for Michigan. You are playing a total of 4 ranked teams currently. That's currently because right. Anything can happen to Illinois where they drop out because they're never considered a serious football team. But they keep winning. Obviously, they'll stay ranked in that high 20s because they're at 24 right now. And same thing goes for Indiana. Yes, you're undefeated, but you're never considered a serious football team until you beat a Michigan. You beat an Oregon, beat Ohio State. They will never be ranked above 20 until they beat a team like that, which, again, it's not improbable. Illinois could beat Michigan in 2 weeks, and there you go.
Yep.
Illinois now is moving up the rankings. So that's what. If you don't think it's going to be tough for them against Illinois, you are crazy, because Illinois wants to show that they are a good football team. I don't even know the last time they were good, but they want to show they're a good football team.
Antoine Randall, maybe.
And same thing with, let's say you get to Indiana. You're playing in Indiana, but if they're still undefeated by that week, 3 weeks out left in the year, they probably won't be, because I'm sure they're about to play some really tough teams. But actually, no, they're going to play Northwestern, Nebraska, Washington, and Michigan State. And if they can end up being undefeated going into the game versus Michigan, you don't think Indiana's going to really want to win that game to boost their chances of being ranked?
Sure they will.
Is going to be not an easy adventure for them, because that is going to be their big game. And then if Indiana's undefeated, this is going to be a strange thing to say, but if they beat Michigan and they stay undefeated, 2 weeks left in the year, there could be an undefeated matchup going on at Ohio State between Indiana and Ohio State.
Wow.
2 weeks left in the year. Indiana could be vying for that Big Ten title.
That's crazy.
If they can.
They don't play many. Who do they play?
Indiana?
Yeah.
They play Nebraska, Washington, Michigan State, Michigan, Ohio State, and then end the year versus Purdue.
They can beat every one of those teams other than Ohio State.
If they're hot. And Michigan's a question mark, but you are in Indiana for that game. That's the only question mark I say I put on their schedule, depending on Michigan State's about to get beat up. If Michigan State gets really beat up these next 2-3 games, they're going to be demoralized and not really care the rest of the year.
Right.
But if they start winning a couple of these games, that might be a difficult game for them too. But Indiana has a real shot if they can keep playing. And it's a weird thing to say that they could have a shot for the Big Ten championship. And another thing, it's another weird thing to say. Your other undefeated team, right now in the Big Ten, we did mention it in our last video, is Rutgers, undefeated.
I couldn't tell you anything about. I can't believe that. That's funny.
Rutgers being undefeated. Obviously, they're going to get beat up at some point this year, but Rutgers is also undefeated right now, and it would be technically the top two teams in the Big Ten, and it's going to be a funny thing to say. Indiana and Michigan are ranked 1 and 2.
Jesus. All right. Well,
that's your record. That's your
standings, man. You're confusing me. My brain's
that's your standings right now, and I find that hilarious.
Stand talking about them for the week.
But with all that being said, if you'd like what you see, like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you think about the games and even the Big Ten and whole, because it's kind of funny at the moment. And until next time, hope to see everybody soon.